Bonjour mes amis et bienvenue au Pendu dans le Cercle de Lune. Hello friends, if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you know from my attempt at a French introduction that this is my series in which I use Terre de Marseille adjacent or antique Italian decks to help me explore the central message of the Thoth-based spread that I do earlier in the week. And I've been focusing this year on the Thoth Tarot. So that's what I've been working with, and this is the chance for me to help expand or dive more deeply into the message that we got from the earlier spread. And if you have not seen that earlier spread, I highly recommend you go watch that one first and then come back here so that you understand that you have the platform or the basis from which this spread is being read, because this is the extension of that spread. So I will put a card up here for you to hop on over, take a look at that spread, come back over here, and then watch this video, okay? And you don't have to watch any of these videos in one chunk, yeah? You can break it up, watch 10 minutes here, watch 15 minutes there. It's all up to you. And just in case you have seen it, but it's been a while, let me just remind you that the title of that video was Know Your Why. And we talked about how we create our own sense of failure, and there are ways of avoiding that pitfall or moving through it if we do stumble into it ourselves. And we had some really wonderful advice from that. We had the oracle cards that were in addition to the 3-card tarot spread, were also very, very deeply helpful. The astrology was also beautiful as well. So that we're moving from there. So we wanted to find ways of remembering our why to help move us past the pitfalls and potential for feelings of failure which we create for ourselves. And how do we do that? We do that by being the Knight of Coins. Now it's really interesting because we've got a very similar spread it's the same thing, only different, in a very interesting way. So what are we going to do? I'm going to show you the spread that we got laid out, and we'll talk about what you just saw, and then we'll break it into 2 chunks and read those 2 chunks separately. Are you all ready to go? Here's the spread. The Tarot deck, the Cercle de Marseille deck that you saw above, is a reproduction of the 1930 Grimmon Tarot. And that deck is still available to my knowledge. It's mass-produced, but from a small publisher, I think. And I think you might have to order it from France, but there will be a link in the description box below. I think it is still available. The oracle cards that you saw were from the Cercle de Lune, and I think you will also have to order that from France, but they are available, and there will be a link in the description box below for those as well. So I highly recommend both of these decks. I think they're phenomenal, and I think they read very well together. Looking at the 2 sets of cards together, the Cercle de Lune, I think, looks better with the older reproductions and facsimile decks from the height of the Cercle de Marseille period, which would be between 1700 and the mid 1800s. Yeah, the height of those kinds of decks being produced from wood blocks as they were. When we move into the more Grimaud style decks, they're more modern printing style, and the Cercle de Lune, the Cercle de Lune, I think works with them, but not as well. It doesn't match. It's not as matchy to me as they are with the wood block print decks. Am I making sense? I hope I'm making sense. But I still like using them together. So, yeah, we're going to read the 3 tarot cards together first, and then the 3 oracle cards are going to give us advice for the 3 cards above. And we'll see how we're going to read those cards right now. Here are the tarot cards. Take a look. The images on that reproduction of the Grimaud deck are very, very dark, aren't they? The flesh tones and the gold colors are very, very dark. And you saw from left to right, we had the 9 of Wands, Le Pape, and then the Reine de Coupe. The 9 of Wands, the Pope, and the Queen of Cups. Right? And that's interesting because looking at that spread, that movement, I should say, we notice that the Pope and the Queen of Cups are facing each other, right? And then the 9 of Wands is on behind the Pope. So the question is, how are we going to read these 3 cards? Are we going to read them left to right? Are we going to read them right to left? Are we going to focus on the center and read the 2 flanking cards as modifying that one in the center? I'm going to do something a little bit odd for me. Because the Pope and the Queen of Cups are facing each other, I think this is the main idea. And I think that the 9 of Wands is what we are coming out of and we're moving to with the Pope and the Queen of Cups. So I am going to read from left to right, but the concept is that the one on the left is isolated in a way. It's the background for the Pope, but the real main idea is the meeting of the Pope and the Queen. Does that make sense? So let's start off with where the Pope is coming from. Yeah, where is Le Pape coming from? Here we have the 9 of Wands. Like I said, the gold colors are really, really dark in this deck. The backs are very, very, very almost disturbingly plain to me. They look like paint chips to me. But they're okay. I mean, they're fine. Not a problem. And they've stood up. I said paint chips, but this paint is not chipping, right? They're in good shape. So, the 9 of Wands. 9s for me are the final pit before the rise to the conclusion of the 10s. Yeah, we get to a lot of energy with the 8s, and then a lot of times we crash before we pick ourselves up and we complete whatever it is whatever journey we're on. Now the 8s are a really ramped up energy. 9s often crash, and then we pick ourselves up in the 10 and we come to completion and we start all over again, right? So the 9 of Wands can be exhaustion, a lack of motivation for me. Yeah, sacrifice. Also self-domination. We have to get ourselves under control. We could be experiencing a real or a symbolic end of something. And so we're called to accept or renounce. Yeah, we accept where we are, and we may have to renounce something that has been not of benefit for us or others. We may need to renounce something that we have been working on. For example, I mentioned in the previous video this week, throwing away a canvas, yeah, renouncing what we've worked on, not as a sense of failure, but because that continuing to work on this thing while I have learned from it and I realize now that this is not the way to fulfill the why that I have, that it's time to renounce that creation in order to manifest the creation that I really have called for myself. Not saying that there's a failure, it's just that I've learned that the path that I walked down was not the best path for me, and now it's time to renounce that path and move on to a different one. Yeah? So, there could be that as well. Also accepting where we are. That will help us move beyond our exhaustion or our lack of motivation. And those feelings of exhaustion and lack of motivation are really strong echoes of that seven of discs card from the Thoth Tarot spread, which was the first card in that spread, right? Very interesting here. The next two cards, I should say, are the Pope and the Queen of Cups. So how do I want to do this? Just briefly, the Pope coming from this card, coming from this, is facing, I almost said facing off, is facing the Queen of Cups. Now that could be us and somebody else. Could definitely be that. But it could be also aspects of self. And that's the direction I'm going to be reading these right now. Yeah? That these are both aspects of self. And those aspects of self could be mirrored, or we could be projecting those aspects of self out into our environment and onto other people as well. But let's look at this from the point of view as these two, the Pope and the Queen of Cups, are both aspects of ourselves. So, who is the Pope? Who is coming from exhaustion and lacking motivation and the need to get him, her, themselves under control. Because remember, this card is expressing as a bearded male body, but we all have this Popeness within us. Whether we're in male bodies, in female bodies, in cis bodies, in trans bodies, in intersex bodies, whatever our body is, we have all of these aspects. We are all popes, we are all queens of cups. Okay? So, our inner pope, who is that? It's the wise one. It's the one of faith. It could be faith in the divine. It could be faith in our eternal natures. It could be faith that faith in the power of intention, which is not visible. It's not tangible with our fingers, but when we're open to it, we can feel that power. It could be that kind, faith in that as well. It could be faith in ourselves. Faith in our partners or whoever we're loving or in relationship with, whether it's romantic, sexual, co-creative, familial, in the workplace, whoever we're in relationship, we might want to have faith in those people as well. And yet we are the mediator, we are the teacher. Reminding us of some of the advice from the oracle cards. We create harmony. We mediate. Now this is a card of also education and knowledge, showing the way. A little bit like the star card, yeah, we show the way, we are showing others the way, but we show ourselves the way. Our hearts can show us the way. And self-mastery is indicated here as well. An echo from the previous Nine of Wands. Now we're emerging from a new ideal. A new ideal is emerging, is what I'm trying to say. A new ideal is emerging here. And we have the desire to communicate with others. Communicate that new ideal. Which was also mentioned in the previous Thoth spread this week. And there could be a revelation of secrets here. Also, again, mentioned in the Thoth deck. All of this is just so strongly echoing the previous Thoth-based spread so far. So we have all of these things. This is how we are moving forward from that experience of the Nine of Wands here or the Seven of Discs in the previous spread. And we're in relationship with, not facing off with but we're in relationship with our inner Queen of Cups. Whoa, where did she go? There she is. Queen of Cups. So you see this beautiful, very, very dark golden figure with the dark golden cup, and we see the cloth hanging over above her and cutting off a little bit of her view. But also it's a protective cloth, right? This is this is a card of compassion and of calm, of comfort. Perhaps self-comfort and also the ability to comfort others. Now, echoing the harmony called for in the previous spread of this week. We have a rich inner world, which is hidden, which is our imagination and our inspiration, right? And we might be guarding our privacy or our assets here, which is a potential problematic point. Now, having healthy boundaries is fine. It's wonderful, actually. But here, being guarded, private, guarding our assets as well, is not going to serve us, I don't think. We want to be open. We want to be connected. We want to communicate our inner world, which is indicated by the other aspect we're relating to, which is our pokeness, our leading the wayness, right? So we want to use this aspect to get through and past the guarded, private aspect of self. We want to be attentive to our emotions and the emotions of others, which was indicated in the earlier spread this week as well. We want our hearts open to give. We want to trust, but not trust blindly. Our trust should be earned. Now, we don't want to be foolhardy here. That's not what she's indicating. But our trust must be earned, but we want to be open and ready to give. Opened our hearts. We want to be the mirror of divine love for other people as well. As we do this, we want to do this. As we be this, we want to be this. And can you see that the harmony of and the integration of these two aspects will be able to move us in the direction of realizing the why that we have for ourselves. The why are we doing what we're doing, and why? Yeah? So we have 3 cards of advice ready for us. Let me show you those cards once more so you get a reminder. And let's talk about these because they're a little bit problematic right now for me. Let's see if we can work through these 3 cards together. Here they are. The 3 cards you saw from left to right were the horoscope, the beggar, and the comet. And that beggar in the center is problematic. It's highly problematic. Problematic also in the sense of how does this really relate to the rest of the reading that we've done so far? So, where do we start? We start off with the horoscope. This is a wonderful little card, I think. All of the cards are wonderful in this deck, and it's got a good balance of light and shadow, encouragement and challenge. All of that is in this deck. And all of the astrology is in this deck as well, which is wonderful. So the horoscope. The side title here is La Nativité, which is nativity, which we can think of as the natal chart. Yeah, our individual natal charts. And here we see a parchment, yeah, with the square shape of the zodiac. Now, in current times, we usually think of the zodiac as a wheel. In the olden days, back in the early days of geomancy and rediscovery of astrology in the West, charts are often done in squares like this. Interestingly, right? So, this parchment is respect and support of choice in the occult. Yeah? Respect and support of choice in the area of the occult. For example, astrology. You see that the moon here is waxing. For new beginnings and projects are possible here. So, for this card, what is in the making is about to manifest. That could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing. Yeah? Sometimes undesired things are in the making and they are about to be manifested. Yeah? So, that's a problematic point for this card. But the secondary astrology is the sign, which is life's beginning. Also, ego. Now, the next card being a challenge card, because it's being Saturn, right? She's Saturn. The next card being a challenge card, there's a challenge or to our assets or to our personhood right now. Now, that new beginning, the ego, might have some challenges to face, in a negative sense of challenge. Because the next card is the beggar. Yeah? And the subtitle here is Infortune, misfortune. We see an elderly lady here who is reminiscent of or a reminder of Saturn, being the planet of aging and the ravages of time. However, she has a gold crutch, which is a symbol of faith. So she's got her faith there with her, but she's been beat up pretty good by time. Yeah? So what does this mean? Well, we have the dangers of time. Aging. Now, aging, in the sense of the olden days aging, perhaps, which was the expectation of decrepitude. We don't have that. We're moving beyond that, I think. That sense of aging being deterioration. In the same way. Yeah, we see aging now as a process of change, of development, of some things being left behind and some things moved towards. Our ability to stay healthy over time has increased immensely, particularly if we don't eat the standard American diet, perhaps. I'm just saying, yeah. If we're eating the wrong kinds of things and we're... On the one hand, there is a great blossoming of healthy aging. I'm sorry, my phone just cut off. So, I was saying, we're in a period of realization of healthy aging, right? On the other hand, we're probably discovering that especially our children, are sicker than they have been for a long time. And a lot of that is environmental pollution, a lot of that is our diet, and this is not what this video is about, but we do also have that potential for healthful aging if we are willing to take responsibility for ourselves. Recognizing that not everybody has the economic or social structure that will give them the advantage of being able to take full responsibility for themselves. But for those of us who are blessed with a stable economic environment and a place where we can find fresh and healthful foods, then we can take responsibility for our own health and create a healthful aging process for ourselves. That's all I'm trying to say. And so, this card is not pointing towards healthful aging, but is pointing towards the old notion of aging equals decrepitation, right? So, aging, infirmity, destitution, naturally becoming poor as we get older, and solitude, losing contact with other people. These are all problematic things, right? Could be due to poor luck, or misfortune, or poor choices. So these are all challenges. And these are the challenges, the failure things, right? Where now it could be actual aging, getting older, but it could be that, okay, so we want something, which is what the point of all of these videos this week seem to be. What do we want? We focus on the what, and we keep working towards it, and then there's a process of aging of our work towards a goal. And sometimes that process, when things don't happen as quickly as we think that they should, or we want them to, or whatever, there's an aging process to our dreams and our aging process to our desires, and we start to feel like those desires break down. They start aging, they start becoming sick and destitute and poor. I think that may be where this is pointing towards. The secondary astrology for this card is also Saturn. So we have Saturn and Saturn. So we have disappointments and trials. But with positive cards around it, that experience can be short-lived. So it seems to me that the central card here for this 3-card spread below is this card. And on one side we have our natal charts, and we have what is in the making is in the process of manifesting, but we might be in the time of this, of feeling that what we're working on is crumbling before our eyes. And we start feeling failure. But we want to recognize that we are creating our own sense of failure. And the next card is the comet. Now the comet, nouvelle, which means the new, right? And you see here a star, which is an indication of flesh and spirit together, or male and female together. It's a 6-pointed star, Star of David, but we have the pointing up triangle for the spirit and the male, and the pointing down triangle for the flesh and the female. So we have those merging of the combination of directions of spectrum: hot, cold, receptive, active, etc. But this 6-pointed star is also divided into 12 sections, which reminds us of the 12 months, the 12 the 12 signs of the zodiac. That's the word I was looking for. And we also have a dove here for purity and simplicity. So what does this mean? Well, this is a card for messages, phone calls, letters. We might get communication. And maybe communication could be from above. Remember, the combination of above and below, the divine and the flesh, the male and the female. Yeah, so we might get communication from aspects of self, of the universe. We might get an unexpected visit or a surprise here. Now, the secondary astrology for this card is the moon, which reminds us of periodic changes, right? And we had the moon in the horoscope card as well, which is the what is in the making, what is about to manifest. So periodic changes, we have the potential to move in the direction of that periodic change of the thing which is in the making and is about to manifest here. And hidden knowledge or knowledge from the gods is there and maybe potentially available for us. Secrets may be revealed, but they may be difficult to accept, which we got a little bit in the above, in the spread above, right? Acceptance and renunciation of things, right? Revelation of secrets in the Pope. So, what is this saying? It's saying that right now we might be in the middle of feelings of failure, but you know, there are things in the works that are ready to manifest. We're getting communication, we're getting the messages. Things can be changing. We just want to be open to that, right? And those feelings of failure, of breaking down, might be because we don't have all of the information. And maybe that information is we have forgotten our why we are doing it. But there might be other information as well, information that will reveal to us and will help us recognize that what we see as a failure might not actually be a failure, might just be a seed that hasn't broken open yet. It's germinating beneath the ground, but the sprout hasn't come up yet. And so we keep thinking, it's a failure, nothing's happening. But maybe something is about to happen. So we don't want to dig it up and throw it away, right? A little bit of patience is called for here as well. So that's where we are. Does that make sense, friends? I hope it does. Yeah, we want to join our Queen of Cups and our Pope. We want to recognize that we don't have the entire story. That we want to recognize that right now what feels like maybe a breakdown or an isolation or some sense of failure, we're creating those feelings on our own. There is no failure. We never get it wrong because we never get it done. And that's where our why will come into play. We know why we're doing things. We will have the ability to continue doing things and letting things that are not growing to pass by, and nurturing those things which have the potential to grow. Friends, I hope this was meaningful for you. It has been meaningful for me. If it's been meaningful for you, let me know in the comments below. If it has not been meaningful, if you've got other ideas, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you want a reading from me, my email address is below, thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. We'll get you a reading. Or let me know in the comments below. We'll find a way to connect on a different platform and we'll get you a reading. Okay? So friends, thank you. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up button. Thank you for subscribing. You help other people find the channel when you do that. It helps our community to expand and to thrive. And now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.